Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's me coming at you again with another vid. Now, I know I'm a little late on this. As a brother always has personal obligations going on in his life, which is me. So sometimes it's a struggle trying to keep up with the current news and updates when it comes to boxing. And like Mr. Boxing Today says, it's like, man, if you miss 1 week of boxing, it's like you're missing a whole year, because a lot of things are happening within the last 2-3 days when it comes to fights being made or fights being called off, guys moving up in weight, guys are going into unification bouts, all that stuff, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a lot of things are happening when it comes to the world of boxing. It's so repetitive that to the point that you cannot miss 1 second of what is, the daily news that's going on within the sport. So, with that said, I am going to do the best I can to be more, updated on the news and the news and events that's happening around boxing today. But I mean, I think I do a fair job of keeping you guys updated and posted. But when it comes to important things, yeah, I shouldn't really. I should report on it as the best way I can. But we all know that, hey, I got better things to do. I'm working. This is just a hobby for me when it comes to doing the boxing updates on my channel, which is a great thing. So with that said, let me get into the meat of this video. Now, I've heard a lot of bickering about a potential Bernard Hopkins and Gennady Golovkin fight. I know some guys are pretty upset about this, and rightfully so. Because they feel that Tom Loeffner and his management team are just trying to cherry pick their way to a big name, moving up in weight because, to 168. Because I think in their minds, they know that they're not going to get the Canelo fight. Because Canelo has been very adamant, and he's been very, very precise when it comes to defending his title and getting fights made. He will not defend that title at 160. He will only defend it at a catchweight. So that catchweight is 155, and of course Golovkin won't budge on that. He said, I'm not going to drain myself to you to make a fight, or for you to make a fight, so I'm going to stay at 160. If you're not going to fight me at 160, then fine. You have to explore some other options. And we all know the middleweight division is not that deep. It's got a few fights there for Golovkin. I mean, after he gets past Dominic, which I will discuss later in this video, he can still fight Chris Eubank Jr. He could still fight Toriano Johnson once he recovers from his injury. He could get a Danny Jacobs fight. But we all know Danny Jacobs pulled the I got to talk to my team card to duck the fight. And he priced himself out as well. So that looks pretty bleak at this point. Now, the Toriano Johnson situation, Toriano Johnson has been very adamant about fighting Golovkin. He wants Golovkin. But unfortunately, he had suffered an injury, so that fight had to be called off, whatnot. But let's say if Golovkin does get past Dominic and he doesn't get the Canelo fight, he just jumps up to 168. Now, Tom Loeffner had came out and said that he is looking to explore a potential fight with Bernard Hopkins. Again, this caused a lot of uproar and debate in the YTBC. And some guys are, a lot of guys are rightfully upset about this. And let me add my 2 cents. Again, there are some guys, especially the Triple G fans or extremes, who are saying that it's, this is a very good fight. Let me play devil's advocate. First things first, it is a very good fight. But from a logical perspective, it doesn't do Triple G any good. And let me explain. First things first, you got plenty of other guys in 168 you could fight. You got Andre Durrell. You have Badu Jack. You have James DeGale that called you out. You have Carl Froch, who could potentially return, but honestly, I don't see that happening. You also have George Groves in there. So you have some good 168 viable fights over there, but yet you want to pick a fight with Bernard Hopkins, who's going to be 51 this year. It just doesn't make any sense at all, man, because first of all, if you look at it from another perspective, this fight will be, if this fight does get made, it would be viewed as another Rocky Marciano versus Joe Louis situation when Joe Louis was out of, he was out of the ring for such a long period of time. and then he returned and faced the young lion heavyweight champion Rocky Marciano, and he got beat badly. So in that situation, if Triple G were to fight Hopkins, he would be ridiculed for that. And I like Triple G, to be honest with you. I really like the guy. It's just that, to me, Tom Loeffler and his management team are not making the right decision by trying to explore a fight with Hopkins. Because a lot of people are going to believe, it will predict that Hopkins is going to get beat badly, even worse than he got beat by Kovalev. He went the distance against Kovalev. But, Triple G might beat him much worse. So, with that said, I just don't think it's feasible to explore a fight with Hopkins. Even though it may be an intriguing fight, but it doesn't do you any good at all. It will further damage you, damage your reputation as a top-tier fighter, and it's going to set you up for more ridicule. I'm just being honest. Because, again, like I said, there's James DeGale who's called him out, is willing to fight him. And there's other guys like Badu Jack, Andre Durrell, and George Groves there. A lot of viable young prime opponents there at 168 that you could fight. But at the same time, I could understand they're trying to get a big top-tier, big money fight for Golovkin, but it doesn't do you any good. What it comes down to, what's more important? Is it more legacy in your reputation, or is it about the money? Of course, a prize fighter will tell you it's all about the money, but then when you collect that money, you set yourself up for ridicule. So you lose a lot of respect. I'm not saying that Golovkin is going to lose respect for fighting Hopkins. What I'm saying is that it just doesn't look good, given the fact that you just went up to 168 to fight a very, very old lion who doesn't really have what it takes anymore. Even though he's still in good condition, but once you get older, your skills become diminished, your reflexes diminish, and your speed, your hand speed, or your speed by that matter diminishes as well. Now, as far as Bernard Hopkins is concerned, if he takes this fight, okay, so be it. But I highly advise against it. And let me talk to Bernard personally, if he actually will listen to this video. I would say, look, man, I totally respect your career, and I idolize you a lot. I myself have ranked you higher above Floyd Mayweather. Okay, I know a lot of Floyd Mayweather fans are going to attack me for this, but I'll state the obvious why I rank you, Bernard, above Floyd. Look what you have done. You cleaned out the middleweight division. You became the first undisputed middleweight champion in 14 years when you knocked out Felix Trinidad. A fight that no one thought you could win. A fight that no one thought Hopkins could beat to win. Thought they could beat Trinidad. But he beat him so severely to the point he knocked him out. Okay? You became the first and only guy to unify all 4 major titles. All right, before you lost to Jermaine Taylor. Okay, after you lost to Jermaine Taylor in the rematch, you went up to 2 weight classes of 175, and you became the world champion by beating Tarver, the only guy in history to do it. Okay? And then you became the oldest champion in history when you beat John Pascal in the second fight. In the first fight, yes, it was a draw. Some would argue that Hopkins came back and won. Some people thought Pascal may have won the fight because he had scored 2 knockdowns against you, Bernard, against Hopkins. But he was an underdog in 2 of those Pascal fights. And he did the unthinkable. He became the oldest champion in history, and he broke his record by becoming the oldest champion at 48 by beating Taurus Cloud, a guy that nobody thought that Hopkins could beat as well. He was also an underdog in that fight, and became the oldest unified champion. So Hopkins had to prove himself time and time and time again by defying the odds. And I can understand why he feels that he should take a fight with a guy like Gennady Golovkin, just to prove the naysayers wrong, because he had to do that for almost majority of his career. But at the same time, you have to be rational about this and say, you know what? It's time to hang it up. You have nothing more left to prove. And this is me pleading to Bernard. You just don't take this fight, man. I understand you're a tough man. I respect you a lot, but there's nothing more left for you to prove. Now, if there was something left to prove, then I can understand where you're coming from. But there's nothing left to prove. So with that said, if he does take the fight, if he wins, he'll get a lot of respect for beating a guy that nobody thought he could beat. If he loses, he'll still get respect because he took on a young lion that nobody wanted to fight. And the other guys at 160 didn't want to fight. They're young cats who carried themselves out of the Golovkin fight by pressing themselves out, by making misstatements after another, saying that, I got to talk to my management team, or this guy's Golovkin's got to come down to catchweight to fight me. I mean, at least Bernard Hopkins to say, you know what? I stepped up to the plate, and I'm only 51 years old. While these 25-year-old cats, these this 20, 30-year-olds are not willing to fight him. So that's the least Bernard can say. Now on to the Dominic Wade fight that's coming up with Gennady Golovkin. Now we all know, as I initially stated in this video, that Dominic Wade is a IBF mandatory replacement for Toriano Johnson. The fight is set to go, I think it's April 23rd. I have to go back and check the date. But if you look at it, if you ask me, this fight is a mismatch. Now, not to say that Dominic Wade doesn't have a chance, but it is a mismatch from the fights I've seen him in. When I've seen him in against the Nick Brinson fight, he took a very, very hard left hook. And, he did the smart thing. He held on when he was badly hurt from that hook. And the thing about Wade is that he keeps an eye guard with the right, with his right hand, but he keeps his left hand very low. So that would make him vulnerable to right hooks and, from right shots coming in from an angle. And so there's some occasions that he does fight flat-footed. And he does have decent power. He's 18-0 with 12 knockouts. But the thing about Wade is that, again, he does stay flat-footed, and he is vulnerable to right hooks. But even though he took a very powerful left hook from Nick Brinson, but he's going to have to be more defensive when it comes to Golovkin. Now, if he wants to beat Golovkin, you could try fighting him in angles, but you got to keep it center in the ring, because if you try to fight him off the back foot or even fight off the ropes, you're giving Golovkin the ability to pressure you, because we saw that perfectly illustrated in the William Monroe fight, when Monroe's initial strategy was to outbox Golovkin, but Golovkin was so smart to the point that he pressured him, cut off the ring, trapped him in the corners, and kept tagging Monroe. And so what did Monroe have to do? Monroe figured that, I'm not going to outbox this guy, so I'm going to have to take the fight to him. And he had some success doing that, and Golovkin got hurt in that fight. I don't give a damn what people say. He could say all he wants to that, I did that because I wanted to give the fans a fight. That's bullshit. He was hurt from that when Monroe was rocking him, even though Monroe was not a power puncher. But, yeah, Golovkin was hurt when Monroe was taking it to him. And I think that Golovkin didn't expect that Monroe was going to take the fight to him. So, of course, Golovkin, a veteran that he is, he knows how to adjust when it comes to situations like that. So, yeah, he was able to adjust and find a way to pressure Monroe and, give him some angles in that fight. So, with that said, I expect an easy knockout victory for Golovkin. Then again, this is boxing. Anything can happen. If Wade somehow scores the upset or, scores a win or a knockout, I guarantee you what, this is going to be a very, very big upset. One of the biggest upsets in boxing history if he does pull it off. So, let me know what you think about this. Care to comment, share, subscribe. Signing off. Peace.